Welcome to Reunite with Self podcast. I'm your host, Rukan. Here, we will be discovering and unraveling what is truly holding you back. We will put the puzzle together and give you clarity on how and what you can do to create massive shift in your life so you start creating the life you always envisioned for yourself. There is no more waiting. Whether it is liberating from dysfunctional family patterns or parenting tools and tips that actually make the difference, we will be diving into the truth and core of things that are simple and which yet no one talks about. I will be sharing with you all the things that would have changed my life massively if I heard any one of these episodes. A new world is awakening, and true bliss, harmony, and peace is possible on this earth. And my mission is to bring you closer to that, one step at a time. In this safe space, I will hold your hand and give you courage and certainty that you can shift anything and everything in your life. It is time we break the pattern. Whether you want to be the parent you never had or make a shift in your life so you don't play small any longer, you will find the support and guidance in this space. My intention is for you to find answers within yourself while you listen to this podcast, so you feel the bliss of reuniting with your true essence, with self, with so much love and compassion and courage. From my heart to yours, let's keep it rockin'. My gorgeous listener, welcome to another episode on Reunite with Self. Thank you for being here. You are in for a treat this episode. Now we are concluding our 3 steps to self-actualize, and this is the 3rd step. And actually, I call it 3.3, and I will explain you why in the episode today. If you have listened to the previous 2 episodes, we were diving into the first 2 steps, which are essential steps for you to self-actualize. So if you haven't listened to them yet, I would suggest you to stop this and go back to the first one, because in order for this to work, you have to do it in order. And I took 1 week of a break from the podcast. I have another podcast. I have 2 podcasts, the same format. Sometimes our topics are a little different. Sometimes, and the other one is in Turkish. That's why that there are 2 of them, because of the language, because I want to reach as many people as possible to get all the messages that I want to get out, and also really reach to the highly sensitive, compassionate, empathic souls to remind them of their infinite potential and the infinite potentiality that you can create and realize. And this is all about self-actualization. Oh yeah, and I took a 1 week of a break because I was doing a workshop in Turkish, free workshop. It was so wonderful, so healing for me as well. I am learning so much. And of course, what we did was like a 6-hour of work, which of course is really, it's a very powerful workshop, because we do everything that I talk about on this podcast, and you can go deeper into things, and you can ask me questions, and it's just wonderful. And I'm just beginning this work, but the podcasts will always continue, and whoever the podcast reaches, my intention is always to reach the highly sensitive, the compassionate souls, the empathic souls, because whatever stops them is actually things that they can, if they create the clarity, which is the first step of the self-actualization, they can actually shift their lives tremendously to a whole nother level and realize actually what has been happening in their lives had really been happening for them. So just to recap, the first 2 steps to to self-actualize were the first one, which is the most crucial, the non-negotiable, is creating clarity. And this means so many things, and you can go back to the first one if you haven't, but if you have, let's get into it. So the first one is creating clarity. This is just massive. Every time I even mention it, I just want to go deeper into it, but I won't, because we did on the first one, and I will always talk about this, always. This changed my life, so I will always talk about creating clarity. Clarity saved my life and saves my life to this day. So the second one is making decisions, because it's actually a natural outcome if you create the clarity, making the decisions that will liberate you, that will create momentum for you, and that will help you self-actualize. Those decisions become as a natural result. But of course, you need to put the effort into it for sure. But you will want to once you create the clarity. And the third one, which I call 3.3, because it is of, let's say, 3 points. That's why I call it 3.3. It's not like 3.3 mathematically, but I just call it 3.3 to emphasize that it is a 3-step point as well. So the third one is, I'm sure most of you have guessed it for sure, as we were talking about self-actualization, is of course the third one is taking action. And why I call it 3.3 is that the first step and the third step is 1, taking action. And then the second one is taking action. And the third one is taking action, and taking uncomfortable action, to be precise. Like some of the actions you will be taking will not be so uncomfortable, will become more natural. But as you progress into the journey of self-actualization, there will be moments for sure, like weekly or monthly or sometimes daily, and sometimes more than once in a day, that you are going to take actions. I believe it's going to be like once a day for sure, that you will be taking actions on things in a way that you have not done before. And there will be, of course, like hurdles or obstacles or opportunities actually that look like obstacles, that will really ask you to stretch yourself. There will be moments where, because the journey of self-actualization is not linear. Like maybe the hero's journey, when you look at it from a wider point of view, it actually might be a linear progress when you really look from far, like from a very higher perspective. There is always progress. If you stay consistent with this process of creating and holding clarity, making decisions and remembering them, like having things in your life that will actually remind you whatever happened, and you are not going to let that happen again. Like there should be reminders in your life. And sometimes the challenges, the hurdles, the obstacles are just ways to remind you of what you went through, what it cost you in the past, because you enabled it, accommodated it, whatever. I'm mostly mentioning like narcissistic tendencies and behavior and from other people. And in that journey, while you are in it, the self-actualization journey is a lifelong thing, by the way. And it is not linear. And especially like this is tricky, especially I believe in the beginning stage of really like starting this journey. And there are so many ways that you can protect yourself, that that would remind you of the actuality of what is happening, that you are on the right path, I mean. And I would love to do episodes on this, like how you can actually protect yourself to remember that you are on the right path, even if there are challenges, pitfalls, obstacles, whatever they may be. But they are always opportunities and always happening for you. Let me know. DM me if you want me to do episodes on this. This is so much fun. I love talking about this stuff because it's what I have experienced and what I am experiencing. So it's just delicious for me to talk about all of this stuff. But why I was saying all of this is that while you are in the journey of self-actualization, the road is not linear. And so the journey will ask, life will ask, whatever, God will ask, your soul will ask you to fully show up and be in uncomfortable situations and really stretch yourself. And I believe when you are in this path, like really you are truly in the self-actualization process of these like 3 steps, I think no matter how challenging it may be, no matter how many long hours you may be working or really going after something, or even staying in your ground and being more assertive with your boundaries, like whatever it may be, I believe there is always a softness to it as well. Like there is this, it's like a soft ground or soft embrace. That's how I feel it. Even in the trickiest moments, even when you were like really exhausted. And Tony Robbins says this, like, God will ask you, like, do you really want it? Are you really up for it? Because you have made the decision, right? In the second step, you have made decisions, you are going after it, but God will ask you, do you really want it? And this looks like experiences in your life where you will think that it's your last breath. Like this is the farthest you can go in that moment. Like you have put so much effort into something and you've been consistent and it's been exhausting and you are exhausted and you think that you will come to a more comfortable place to take a breath. But in those moments, God will, or universe, whatever you believe in, your higher self, will ask you to step up. And you will. And that's what's really surprising. And that's why it's like, take action, take action, take action. And that's how you keep the momentum, because of the movement, because you are moving. You are in it now. You are in the journey. And it's like this itself is the miracle, I believe. Like just being in that journey itself, because if you are conscious, like I am talking from my own experience, but I'm sure this is a universal thing, you will, like, God will send you angels. God will send you angels. Miracles will start happening. Things that you didn't even imagine starts happening. Like things you couldn't maybe even guess will start happening. But I don't mean to say this in a way that, things start flowing to you and everything is easy. I don't mean to say this at all, but I'm sure maybe you get the feeling of what I'm talking about. Like in that journey, your own devotion and the kind of energy that you actually have will surprise you, as well as the angels, like humans in the form, or angels in the form of humans, will come your way, and there will be support, and people will want to support and help you in the shape of friends, lovers, colleagues, people you work with, just like anything, like in the smallest and the biggest things. And that by itself is something I think keeps you in the journey. So, and that's why I say, no matter like how challenging, like you've got blood and sweat and tears on your face and on your body, metaphorically, and you're still going. And that is because of all of this, because you are like, first of all, you're following your heart and your soul's calling. You are on your path. Like, this now. You are creating your own life. Like, everything in your life is a choice. I was watching some old reels that I did earlier this year, or at the end of like a year ago. And I was just to see a part of my journey. It inspires me too. Like when you look back in your own journey, it will inspire you. And I was saying something like, when you do something that is your own choice from A to Z, like everything is your choice. It doesn't mean that there weren't challenges. Maybe you face challenges like never before. And that's how like your energy surprises you. But when you do something, when you start something, when you are in the path of something, and while doing that, every action that you take, every decision, every choice that you make, if it's your choice from A to Z, then all is good. That's the soft embrace. I don't know why I got into this. I wasn't planning on talking about this, but it's just, I don't know if it would make it easier when you listen to this, just to know that. But yeah, I wouldn't want to take away the challenge from it, or would want to make it easy or sound easy. I don't know if that would be beneficial for you, but I just want to say, taking actions on things that you really believe in and that now you are doing it not from ego, not to impress someone, not doing it from a place of where you're playing small or accommodating any narcissism, or just not playing or not fully showing up for your life. Like when it's not like that, when you're fully showing up and doing all the things, when it's your choice A to Z and you're fully shining your light, doing everything authentically, being in your own energy and not, your energy is not stolen by anyone or anything, then it's just, that itself is the miracle. Like that itself is, it's always the journey, not the destination. And I really, truly believe it. And I had this experience when, I think I talked about it on the podcast, I'm not sure, but I remembered a time when in the beginning of this journey, really, I began this journey about not 2 years ago, but more than a year and a half ago. And I was thinking about September 2022. So when it was September this year, I thought about it, and it was a year ago from that day. And I was thinking about like the journey I was going through with one of my businesses, and it was a very challenging time for me. And I was going through a lot of challenges with like the people I was working with. I was starting something from the ground up, and it was very challenging for me. But I was in the journey, like a lot of things I was enjoying as well. But I was like working nonstop, doing everything, like getting out of my comfort zone 100%. And I remembered looking back at it, like I remembered exactly a moment when I was in it a year ago. I remembered exactly what I was seeing, what I was feeling on my skin, like what I was feeling inside, my thoughts, my conversations, just the feeling. And I thought about it a year later, and a year later, I thought that it was such a beautiful memory. It had this softness in it. And I don't hear this really talked about, so I just wanted to mention it. Like I was taking so many steps and actions in that moment, like a year ago from that moment. And although it was so challenging and I was frustrated with some people and I felt so exhausted physically, mentally, emotionally, I was so exhausted, but I was still going. And it was a moment when I was traveling. I was by myself. I was on the phone with a friend slash someone I was working with, like coworker, let's say. And I remember that time, that moment was so different when I looked back at it. And I am just saying this because, I've had like my work life before that, and I had a lot of like moments where I was maybe frustrated or very tired or whatever, like completely different picture and life, completely different emotions, everything. But just like, I just want to say, like, I never had a moment like that. When I was going through frustrating moments, it felt lonely before, because I was leaving myself alone. I was abandoning myself by not showing up for my life truly. But now, and I think I remember this, I was thinking about this because I was going through a challenge as well. And I just thought about, just to give myself perspective, because perspective is so important. And I was thinking about it and I was like, oh my God, like that was the sweetest memory. That was the sweetest moment, because I was following my heart. I was following my passion, my mission. I was building something with my sweat and tears and blood, and I was choosing like that. Everything was my choice. No matter what the hurdles was, it was truly my choice, my creation. So I just want to say this. So it's not just taking action and being in this like masculine energy. And, I love taking action. I'm an action taker. It's like one of my highest traits, I guess I could say. Like I love taking action, but I'm learning I'm learning. I am just beginning. I'm learning, but it's not, when you are in this self-actualization journey, the steps you take and the actions you take, it's in this place of being whole. Like you are whole. You are not doing it for your ego. You are not being a martyr. Like I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing the word right, but you are not, giving yourself away to create a business or go after your mission. Like, you are not abandoning yourself, no matter how hard you might be working. There is a softness to it. There's an embrace to it because you are on your path. I guess I really wanted to share this. I had no idea I was going to talk about this from this context. I guess I was going to talk about more like take action, like create the momentum. And that's how you keep the momentum. And then that's how you start realizing all the things you actually want to do in your life. But I want to mention that there is always a soft embrace in it if you are following your heart's true calling and you are doing it from your own energy without your energy being stolen. So, the self-doubt, playing small, or not fully showing up as yourself, or anything that might block you is not there anymore. You are more yourself and you are becoming more of yourself. I'm not saying like your subconscious is fully clear. Like, that's not it. Of course, this is like lifelong journey, but I'm sure you get what I mean. Just your daily life, how you are is like you are now becoming yourself. I love you so much. I hope there was something you took from this episode. Maybe it was something I wasn't even focusing on and you just got something from it that, feeds your soul. I love you so much. I'll see you next week. If there is any topic suggestions you have for me, my Instagram is in the show notes. It's actually not the podcast Instagram. It's my goddess wear brand, Kevela. It's in the show notes. You can always DM me if you have any topic suggestion for me, or if you have any questions, if you have anything going on in your family or in your life that you have, just doubts about or questions about. I'm here to create an episode just for you. I love you so much. I'll see you next week. My gorgeous listener, if you had any takeaways from this episode or from this podcast in general, I would love to know. Please share this episode with a few loved ones right now. You never know how they can benefit from something so small. And please take a screenshot of this episode and share on IG, tagging me at Kevela. That is KHEWELLA. Kevela. That is my goddess wear brand, my Instagram page. I would love to know what your takeaway was, or something you found inspirational, or a confirmation you believe in as well. That would make my day. And you can always DM me if you have a topic or a certain question in mind that you want me to talk about. And give me a 5-star rating if you feel like it. That would help this podcast immensely to get the word out. I love you. See you on the next one. I want to see you shine your brightest.